Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be general messages for the month of for the month of May, for the sign of Gemini. Hello, Gemini, how are you doing? Hope everything is going well. Quickly, before we start, just want to make sure, give you some of these messages. Please be sure to check the description box below. If you're not interested in watching me shuffle the deck and do this little intro, you can jump right to the reading. There will be a timestamp in the description box below. Also, check down in the description box. You're going to find information about doing personal readings with me. You can go ahead and read about how to take care of that, and we will set something up with you. And then also, after this general reading, do look back within, I'd say, the next week or so. I think I'll have up the first half of May love reading, so you have that to look forward to. And Gemini, I'm just going to go ahead and get reestablished with your energy. I did meditate with this deck previously off camera, and I'm just going to get into it after I reestablish. Oh yeah, and welcome, hello, welcome to new viewers, welcome to returning viewers. If this is your first time seeing me, I thank you for viewing this channel. I am still new to YouTube, so I appreciate you stopping by. If you're a returning viewer, I also appreciate that. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, feel free to go ahead and hit the subscription button. That would be awesome, but only do so if you feel compelled. Also, feel free to like and share the video, make comments on the video, but only if you're compelled to do so. If you're just here to watch and leave, that's cool too. Alright, Gemini for May. And again, hope everything's going well. Oh yeah, and end of May is birthday for some Gemini, so happy birthday if you're born in the latter half of May. Coming up, I hope you guys have a fabulous time. And tasty cakes. If you're able to eat cake and enjoy it, I hope it's fabulous. Alright, and it's going to be a 6-card spread. 1 card for your outcome, 1 card, from the bottom of the deck. It's going to be your overall energy. Gemini for May 2018. There, okay. Alright, Gemini, let's go. There we go. Also, if you're a first-time viewer, you'll note the music in the background. That's there for me. It just helps me stay in these readings. And so if it's not your thing, sorry about it. Kind of a sidewinder here. Up or down, please. Up. Thank you. There we go. Outcome card right there. And the bottom of the deck is going to be your overall energy. Well, Gemini, haven't seen all the cards, but this is looking like it's going to deal heavily with the love department. It is not a love reading. It is a general reading, but oh my gosh, this is going to be a love reading. So if you're not here for that, I do apologize, but the messages this month for Gemini is definitely, probably, more than likely going to touch on love. Cups galore. Oh, let's see what we got, okay? Gemini, where are you? Evaluating, waiting, turning. Those are some words that I've gotten here. Okay. So I think, Gemini, you are mostly in the 4 of Wands energy. Where else is Gemini? Where is Gemini, please? It might be here in this central L shape here. Okay. But I think it's mainly here in the Four of Wands. We're going to start here, and then we're going to see where we go. So coming into May, Gemini, you're starting as the, let me get focused here, as the Four of Wands. So Four of Wands talks about commitment, talks about structure, talks about foundations in a family dynamic or within a home dynamic. So that does deal with partnerships. Like I said, it's probably leaning towards love, but if you are totally single and you don't really have anyone on your radar, you're not on anyone else's radar, this could be within your home and dealing with family members, roommates, friends, whoever you share a home with, or whoever you're in a significant partnership with in terms of, you know, an actual household or, like I said, just like a foundation. If you don't actually live with the person, maybe you guys share resources, or, you know, maybe you live in the same home, but maybe it's like a duplex or something like that. So it's like technically two separate homes, but you share one actual building, something like that. And you're starting there, and I think you're feeling like good. I think you're feeling like you're on the route, on the road to building something. Like, I think that's your intention. If it's not your intention, it's the intention of whoever you're dealing with. It is a general reading, so it could go either way. You know, it could be that they have this structure, they have this interest in foundation and stability, but this is your reading, so I'm going to speak as if it's you. And again, if nothing here resonates with you, don't force it to fit. If it doesn't fit, leave it alone, okay? Now, Four of Wands talks about a commitment or an agreement. So I think you're in partnership with someone. I think that you're kind of interested in taking things to the next level. You are seeing your partner as somebody that you want to get deeper into a commitment with, into an agreement with. And I just get the feeling that it's mostly positive. It's mostly optimistic. I think there might be some dissension, but the intent is here in the Four of Wands, to be structured, to be stable. Now, the reason I say that there might be some disagreement or dissension, not disagreement, well, it could be a disagreement too, or dissension, is because you'll notice these three Cups characters, Queen of Cups, Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, 3 court cards out of the 4 court cards of cups that you could get are present. But you'll notice that they all in some way are sort of turned away from this structure, okay? So there's something that could be there. So there might, like I said, there might be a dissension, there might be a disagreement, there might be a not on the same page feeling going on here. Because again, the Four of Wands I feel is mostly you, but it can be your partner. If you're the party in the relationship, in the partnership, that's like, I don't know if we should go that far. It could be you or it could be them. I'm not necessarily seeing that people don't want it. That's why I said not on the same page. I think that whoever you're dealing with, you guys want partnership. You just might not know, you might not agree on how to get here. It's slightly confusing. And I'm peeping that outcome card, so that definitely plays in here, but that will come later. Now, where do you extend to? I think that, okay, that's a possibility, but we'll talk about that in a second. I think that you extend here and here, or here or here. We'll see if you're in both places or in one of the places over the other. I think some of you are the Page of Wands. It's Page of Cups, excuse me. And some of you Geminis are the Knight of Cups. Some of you are the Page of Cups, some of you are the Knight of Cups. And both have a similar thing going on here. And again, you're thinking of the Four of Wands as your basis, right? Your foundation, where you're coming from. This intent to build towards something more serious, or to build towards something that is stable and committed, right? Now, how do you do that? you're either doing it as the Page of Cups or you're either doing it as the Knight of Cups. If you're doing it as the Page of Cups, Gemini, and this could be your partner too, again, the energies can be vice versa. But if you're going in as the Page of Cups in this situation, which is feeling heavily about a love situation, you're going in a little naively. You're going in a little unrefined, unpolished, right? The Page of Cups is the lowest of the court cards in any suit. And this particular Page of Cups, this Page of Cups is like impressed with his own offer. Like, look how he's looking into that cup. Look at how he's like sort of adoring the fish that's in that cup. He's like impressed with his own ability to make this offer or to make this emotional connection, which in its own way could be like a breakthrough for you personally, Gemini, or for your partner, whoever this applies to. Whereas maybe before you were a little more closed off, a little more aloof, a little bit more emotionally unavailable. Now you've become emotionally available, and you're saying, hey, I'm emotionally available. And the way that you're executing it is not to actually truly offer it or extend that cup to someone else, because look, he's by himself in the card, and his arm isn't fully extended to someone who's out of frame or anything like that. He's kind of just like looking at that cup on his own. So maybe some of you are having not issues with, but you're delving into self-love, self-care, and you're kind of halfway extending the offer to your partner, like, I want to go deeper with you, I want to make a more profound connection with you, but really it's like you're sort of doing it for your own sake. And for some of you, you're like really impressed. And again, that's wonderful, because like that sounds like progress to me. That sounds like somebody who's like come out of their shell, somebody who's kind of in a way gotten over themselves, gotten, you know, there's like a narcissistic feeling here. Immature, narcissistic, self-fulfilling, right? So some of you are making an offer or are feeling more interested in love or are offering more of yourself emotionally, but it's just, there's something about it that sort of lacks refinement and is not hitting the mark completely. And in some ways, the Page of Cups is kind of ignorant to all of that. I think most of the pages can be ignorant. I think probably the least ignorant one would probably be the Page of Pentacles, but that's another story. He's not here right now, so we can't talk about him. But in the case of the Page of Cups, it's like there's a want to be connected. There's a want to make a connection with someone else. But again, there's like close but no cigar is sort of the feeling that happens here. Okay? And again, the orientation of that card and these three court cards is away from the Four of Wands. So the intent is good. The intent, I feel, is mostly true. I don't feel that there's a falseness here, really. But again, there's like a dissension. There's like a not on the same page with you and your partner. If you're not the Page of Cups, you're the Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups, one up from the Page of Cups in the suit of Cups, makes offers, has a little bit more seriousness about him. He's got a horse, he's got a whole armament, he's got, you know, a whole suit of armor there. And the offer, again, the arm is not extended, right? The arm isn't like fully extended. And that's like striking me right now. And I'm not sure that any of the Cups cards have this extension thing, but that's kind of striking me now. There's like this, again, close but no cigar. You are wanting to extend, but maybe you're not extending as much as you could in either the Page of Cups or the Knight of Cups, and maybe even the Queen. We'll get to her in a minute. Now, with the Knight on horseback, so able to move faster than the Page, is able to discern and decide on a destination a lot more swiftly than the Page, has a better line of sight. So if you're acting as the Knight of Cups right now, Gemini, coming into May in this relationship, I think you have a better chance of making that connection, getting your point across, getting your offer to be accepted, or at least received, because you can receive something and still not accept it. But the issue with this guy is that, look in the base here, the base of the card. There's like a river here, and the perspective is not the best in this particular Rider-Waite deck, but there's this river that you have to cross, Gemini. There's something more that you have to do. Like, the journey that this knight is on isn't complete until he crosses that river. And what happens once he crosses the river is kind of unknown, but within the frame of this card, that definitely plays a factor. You have to cross this river. And what's the significance of the river? Related to the cups energy, water, cups, that deals with emotions, right? And Gemini, I would think many of you have a base knowledge of your own zodiac sign. You're an air sign, and air signs are typically not known to be emotional, or not known to be as in touch with their own emotions as, say, a water sign would be, or maybe even sometimes a fire sign might be. I think your strength, or what you're known for, is your ability to intellectualize, to communicate, to express ideas and understand ideas, understand complexity of the mind, of the brain, and of thinking and communication. That's amazing. That's an incredible skill to have. Where you might struggle, or in this case of the Knight of Cups, what he needs to do is get over his emotions, to cross them, to wade through them. Don't know how deep that river is that the Knight of Cups has to cross, so I can't really say for sure how impactful or deep or wide this body of emotions is, but it's along the journey of the Knight of Cups. So as you want to make this offer, because again, you're radiating out of the Four of Wands in May, it will require you to face a certain part of yourself that you've not crossed before, that you've not encountered before, that you've not even considered before. And your motivation seems to be the partnership, seems to be the idea of stability and commitment and going further. And that requires taking a risk. That requires going into unknown territory and, like I said, trying to find agreements and commitments with someone. But again, there's this idea of being off of the page, or not on the same page. Okay? Why is that? Page of Cups, he's facing away. He's like kind of still like in this sort of narcissistic, staring into the mirror and thinking, I make a great partner, don't I? I'm going to be so amazing with my love offer. And like, this guy spent like 2 hours pumping himself up in the mirror and making himself look pretty. Not to say that you're being vain in that way, but it's this idea of you may want it, but you haven't really put too much action behind it. And even in that card, let's go back to the Page of Cups, there's like a nice little rolling waves of water behind the Page of Cups. So your energy, again, you're an air sign. Your energy here in this spread is heavily in water, heavy in the Cups energy, heavy in emotions. You're going to go through it. You're going to go through it. Now, the Knight of Cups, he has a better chance, like I said, of executing what he wants and hitting the mark. But where he comes into trouble is not only with the river, he also comes into the trouble because he's going towards the Seven of Pentacles. Now, who's the Seven of Pentacles? Who is this? This is you. This is you, Gemini. Because for a second I was like, is it someone else? That's why I asked, who is this? And this is you. So there's a part of you that's like evaluating, reevaluating, studying, discerning, contemplating. Seven of Pentacles is about waiting. It's about you've planted your seeds of intention. You've planted the seeds of desire. Since this is a little bit more of a love reading, or at least a partnership reading, there's a desire that you have and you've been wanting to cultivate. You've been wanting to bring it into fruition. And this Seven of Pentacles would tell you that it's growing, but it's not yet ripe. Okay? Your seeds are starting to bear fruit, but is it right to pick them from the vine yet, to take them off of the tree just yet? Maybe not. And this could mean, Gemini, that as your Knight of Cups moves forward with his offer, as he crosses that river and wades through whatever body of emotions that he has to wade through, there's still going to be a waiting period, or there's going to be either you're going to encounter a waiting period that you didn't encounter before, or you're going to sort of double back and face this wait period again. And again, like he wants to, in this card, this gentleman, he wants to pick these pentacles. He's like, is it now? Now? Right now? Can I do it now? And so there's like this reflection going on here. There's like this combination, there's like this feeling of wanting to act, Gemini, wanting to go forward, wanting to extend yourself, extend your arm, extend your offer. But then there's also this like, I can't, I'm not mature enough yet. I'm too stuck on myself. I want to, but I have to cross all these emotions. I want to pick up what I've cultivated so far and admire it and take it into my home or take it into my body and really enjoy what I've put effort into. But there's like this disconnect here. As much as there's this intention to connect, there's this desire to connect and come together. It's like falling through the cracks in some kind of way. It's very strange. If I have to be honest, it's very strange. Let me go back to something, because I did feel it earlier, and I'm looking at the cards again, and I feel it again. This could be, Gemini, also for some of you who are in a partnership, but not in a partnership, or you're in like a weird gray area of dating, whatever it is. Some of you might have a partner, might have a stable foundation, but something is breaking down there. I don't really see that too much. It's possible. So, but this is like, but these two cards in particular were striking me. And it might have come up in your love reading that I did for the last half of April. I can't really remember, though. It might have been you, or it was someone. And if it wasn't you, Gemini, I do apologize. But there was someone who, they were in a commitment. I think it was Gemini. I think it was you guys. You're in a commitment. You're in a relationship. It's pretty defined. It's pretty much solidified. You're dating someone. But some of you, and I'm pretty sure this was Gemini, were putting feelers out there. We're flirting with people who were not your significant other, who were not your partner. That was in the second half love reading for April. So check that out if you didn't check it out. Now, I feel that could apply here, because you do have this foundation, right, where you start off at, but you're sending out feelers. You're like maybe at work immaturely like flirting with someone, like, oh, ha, 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 hi Tim from finance, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And it's nothing. It's very immature. You're only doing it to serve yourself, or maybe you're flirting with the guy in the cafeteria so that he like puts extra strawberries on your parfait in the morning. In the morning, I don't know. Whatever you're doing, whatever flirting you would be doing, whatever little batting of the eyelashes that you're doing with someone, or flexing of the muscles, or whatever, however you flirt with someone, is self-serving. It's like to prove that you're still attractive. The Page of Cups definitely, in that immature way, would want to be recognized for their attractiveness, okay? So some of you are doing that. Innocent flirting, quote unquote innocent, because I'm sure a lot of partners don't like the idea of their significant other going to flirt with anyone else. A lot of people would not view that lightly, so I'll say it's innocent flirting in quotation marks. Now, some of you are doing that. Others of you are heavily pursuing someone else, and pursuing not even necessarily for the intent to be in a relationship or the intent to actually make a connection, because again, in order to make that connection, this knight would have to extend his arm a little more fully, and he has to cross that river of emotions. So some of you are playing the long game and like doing a slow burn kind of flirt situation with someone who isn't your significant other. Which would cause this whole, you gotta wait before you can reap what you've planted, what you've sown. You have to go and evaluate things, okay? And that is just a sub situation of what I was speaking of earlier. I feel that most of you are going to be in relationships where you're pretty much committed. And I say pretty much because, you know, who knows? We would like to think when we say we're committed, we mean it, but that's not always the case, right? But for those of you who there isn't an outside flirting situation going on, you do intend to go deeper and more serious with your partner. For those of you who are doing that, then yes, some of you are doing it this way, some of you are doing it that way. And if you're doing it the way of the Knight of Cups, you're going to come into like this wait period. Now, what's the Queen of Cups doing here? What is she here for? Oh, come on in focus. There she is. Isn't she? Well, I guess she's pretty. I don't know. I can't really tell. And there's an interesting thing there in that can't really tell. I think the Queen of Cups traditionally is talking about someone who does know her own feelings, does know her own emotions, and the rhymes and the reasons of why they exist or why they're being manifested in the way that they're being manifested. But also the Queen of Cups can be very dreamy. The Queen of Cups can get lost in her own sauce, you know what I mean? Like she will drink her own Kool-Aid. And she came upright. All your cards came upright. So there's that, where this is probably going to, for the most of you, vibrate on the higher scale, you know, be the higher qualities of each of these cards, right? But even still, some of you might be dealing with someone, or you yourself are kind of in this sort of rose-tinted glasses phase where you love the idea of love and not the actual act or reality of love in your life. You just like the idea of, I'm in a relationship, I'm with someone that I love or that loves me, and get caught up in like a dreamscape. And that I'm saying that because, again, her back is towards this Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is the basis, but no one's really facing it. You are not facing it. People that you are dealing with aren't really facing it. The Four of Wands is sort of like this, like, it's like off here in the corner and like everything else is going on over here. Like this is the central hub, but all the action is happening out here, and it's like separate from the Four of Wands. A lot of this is very separate from the Four of Wands, this idea of stability and foundation. But that's where you are. It's very interesting. Now, the Queen of Cups, her back is to the Four of Wands, right? So that's where I come with this, or get to this idea of dreaminess, of being in love with the idea of love, not the actual act, not the actual reality of dealing with love relationships or partnerships. It's the idea of, I'm with someone and that's okay. And some of us are like that in this world, right? Where we get into a situation, a relationship, or we get into some kind of partnership, romantic or otherwise, because this can apply to family and friends too, right? Where because of the convenience, because of the routine, because of the predictability, it satisfies, or it allows you to be content. And you don't really ask for more. Does she look like she's asking for more? She's like enamored with that cup of hers, that very adorned and ornate chalice of hers. She's not asking for more. She's not aspiring for more. This is it. This is what I've got. This is the cup I have, and I'm happy with it. You know? And sometimes that's great. Sometimes you don't need more. Sometimes it's cool to be contented. It's cool to be satisfied. It's apt. It's perfect. But here, because the Four of Wands is about progression and building and leveling up, being contented, being satisfied, being like, it's okay. This is what I need. This is sufficient. Disconnect. Another disconnect. So either that's you or your partner. Who is it? Who is this? This is you. Gosh, you're all over the place. And in my dealings with Gemini so far in my life, I've seen this where you can compartmentalize yourself, and that would play off of the whole, oh, you're represented by the twins and you have duality about you. I mean, I say it in like sort of that mocking tone, but it's true. It's like that would be one of the defining characteristics of a Gemini, is being of two minds at once, two emotional states at once, two opinions at once. So there's a divergence that sometimes happens with Gemini. There a lot, and to you it feels complementary. You're used to it. You live in that body of yours. You live in that personality and that existence of yours. So you recognize the duality and you accept it, because you realize, even though it's kind of opposite sometimes, the good twin, the bad twin, they actually feed one another and they balance each other out. So to you, it's very normal to say, I like this, but I don't like it. Or I like that person, but I really don't like them. And that's normal to you. To other people, that sounds like, well, you sound confused, or you sound opportunistic, or you sound as if you're two-faced, that you're trying to play both sides, and it can be misconstrued. The trouble that happens is this compliance thing, or this contentment thing, where because you want more, but you kind of feel like you have enough, or it doesn't really, God, for lack of a better word, those two things don't communicate with one another. If you want more, why would you say that you're contented? If you want more, how could you say that you're satisfied? If you want more, how could you sit where you are and say, I've got enough, I don't want more? Because and look at the Queen, she's so fixated on that one cup. So again, there's a disconnect here with you, Gemini, where all of this sort of circles around to, because maybe this is sort of like making a circle here, like a squared or rectangled shaped circle, but there might be this idea of traveling this way. There's this idea of moving, you know. But regardless, the quote-unquote the outward card would be the Temperance card. Temperance is the card of Sagittarius, so some of you might be dealing with Sagittarius. But if not, just think of these qualities. Sagittarius has to deal with balance, has to deal with alchemy, has to deal with the idea of mixing together the right elements or the right portions in order to find balance, right? And it's a spiritual card, because, I mean, the figure is that of an angel. You've got the enlightenment halo sort of around the head, and the third eye, right? Yeah, the third eye, or the crown chakra, one of those, is being highlighted on the forehead of the angel. Focus, I want you. There it is. You know? So there's this feeling of someone needs to, or is in the process of, or would find benefit in getting in touch with their internal space. Getting in touch with what they want deep inside. And sometimes, God, I hate to get all metaphysical with you. Sometimes that requires like sort of this ability or this attempt to disconnect with your physical self and connect with your higher self, to be perfectly honest. Okay? Because I think that's sort of what's missing here. Or not missing, I think this is what this is pointing to. Because emotions are something kind of, they're real, but then they're not real. And what do I mean by that? They're real because we experience them. We all experience them, but they're not real because we can't touch them. You can't point to something and say, that there, that's happiness. That over there, that's anger. You can't easily pinpoint and define in the physical world what emotions are. But you've got a lot of cups here. You have one card of Pentacles, so there is this intent, and Wands often deals with things that can be tangible and and those that are not. So I think there's this idea of marrying what is unreal or quote unquote intangible with what is tangible and what is real, and finding a balance between those two. And to me, the Temperance card showing up is telling you, in order to get that, in order to at least begin to understand that, how to make that process happen, how to get that process rolling, you got to get into your higher self. You got to get into your higher state of mind, higher ways of thinking and feeling and observing the world, which is something you can do, Gemini. You are, again, an air sign, so the ability to think not only critically, but to think in terms of the macro and not just the micro. That's very possible. Macro, bigger picture. Micro, smaller picture, more confined, more, for lack of a better word, more reasonable, more measurable variables and elements. That you can do that all day. Go macro, it might require you to get into things that you don't necessarily believe in, such as tarot, but you're here, so you must believe in it somewhat, right? But then maybe going further, so taking up meditational practices, taking up yoga, getting into certain studies of religion or Eastern religions, Buddhism, Taoism, things like this. Maybe you have to start eating better, maybe because eating and drinking certain fluids is definitely going to influence you physiologically, right? So, and that would talk to Temperance. Not only do you have to have a healthy way of thinking, you have to have a healthy way of feeling, you have to have a healthy way of behaving, healthy ways of eating and dieting and all of that stuff. Like I said before, it's taking the different portions or the different elements and realizing which portions need to be put together to find the quote-unquote perfect balance. And perfect balance in this way isn't necessarily perfect as in the sense of, oh, if I do this, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be an angel. I'm going to come out and I'm going to be like this holier than thou. I'm going to be able to walk on water and part the seas kind of thing. No. Perfect balance in the sense of it's going to serve you in this particular situation that you're dealing with. This situation. That's why this came up here. This situation, and revolving around this partnership, this foundation, and this stability that you have, that you kind of have. I don't even think that this is something where it's a goal. You're already here. So you've previously committed to something. You've previously committed to someone. You've previously committed to a circumstance, a situation, whatever. And again, it doesn't have to be strictly love in the romantic sense. This could be partnership within a home. I agreed to live with my cousin for 2 years. Okay, so that was 2 years ago, or that was maybe last summer. You're halfway through almost of that commitment, but things are kind of, again, not on the same page. So how do you get back on the same page? Got to get that balance. Got to get that temperance in your life. And again, you got to strike that perfect balance. It's not going to make all your partnerships, all your roommate situations going forward, all your love relationships, all your family relationships going forward means that they're going to be perfect and you're never going to encounter a problem again. False. This just serves the situation that we're talking about today. So, how do you do this? Like I said, strike that balance. Find the different elements in their right proportions and put them together. So certain changes in your diet and exercise, certain changes in your behavior, the way that you communicate with your partner, certain changes and alterations in your own thoughts, your own emotional states. There's something that, and let's take this into consideration as well. All of these are Cups cards. And I asked who is in these cards. The answer each time, Gemini, was you. So again, you've got different parts of yourself that aren't even talking to each other. These guys aren't facing each other. If they were in the opposite position, they would face each other. But no, they're faced away from each other. The Queen of Cups, she's down by herself. So these three parts of yourself, these three emotional representations of yourself, or areas, not areas, but approaches to love, or understandings of love and relationships, they're not speaking to each other. They're bouncing off of each other. Instead of coming together and molding, they're ricocheting off of each other. They're passing each other like ships in the night. Marry these three. Get them talking to each other. Get them understanding each other. Get them communicating with each other. That would be a part of the temperance. What's your outcome for May? Gemini, you have the Moon card. Moon is the card of Pisces, so some of you might be dealing with a Pisces or coming into contact with a Pisces. For those of you who are doing that whole sort of slow tiptoe out of your relationship, doing that quote-unquote innocent flirting, you could be innocently flirting with either a Sagittarius or a Pisces. But the outcome in general, regardless of anybody's zodiac sign or anyone of significance, the Moon card talks about confusion, talks about illusion, talks about things being shrouded in mystery and truths being veiled and hidden. So, as much as this is so heavily involving love and relationships and cups and just that whole feeling of effusiveness, I think it's all misdirected. Or not all, most of it is misdirected. Most of it is not lining up with someone else's intentions, with someone else's expectations, with someone else's efforts. There's this misalignment going on within you and or within the partnership that this is pertaining to. And with the Moon, there's this feeling of protection, right? Because illusions, confusion, things being hidden, that all sounds kind of like ominous, right? It kind of sounds malicious. It's not. It's more of a defensive thing. It's more of a thing of avoiding vulnerability or coping with vulnerability. When certain parts of your life, certain events, certain people, certain circumstances of your life ask you to be vulnerable, it's very, very common for people to put up defensive walls or deflect or spin truths or bend the truth or hide the truth. That's possibly what's going on with you in May, Gemini, is that you're being asked to give more. Either you agree to it or someone else is asking you to it or saying, hey, do you want to do this with me? Do you want to take things to the next level with me? Do you want to go deeper down this rabbit hole of love with me? And you're like, I'm satisfied. I'm content where I am. No, I don't really want to do anything because she's not going anywhere. She's going to stay on that throne all day. Or you're saying, sure, I can do that. Look at me. I'm loving someone else. I'm giving them what they want. Aren't I the best? And you're sort of patting yourself on the back and you're sort of giving yourself congratulations. For what? You didn't do anything yet. And others of you, you're like, yes, I do want to go deeper with you. I do want to make this commitment go the distance with you. But you have a long way to go. You have to cross that river of emotions that you've never crossed before. And you're going to end up, or you're going to face this idea of, maybe I should just go ahead and pluck this fruit from the tree right now. It's not ripe. It's not ready. And there will be this interesting moment of delay going on. Oh, gosh. So the Moon card is basically saying, as your outcome, things are going to remain a little cloudy. If you don't recognize that they're cloudy now, by sometime within the month of May, thereabouts, maybe a little bit after, you're going to realize, oh man, things aren't as clear cut as I thought they were. And maybe you'll come to realize that you're not on the same page with your partner, or they're going to realize you're not on the same page. Or if you do realize it, nobody's going to say anything. Somebody's going to keep their mouth shut about how not on the same page they are. And they're just going to ride it out. Overall energy for the month of May, 2 of Cups. And even behind the 2 of Cups, you got more cups. You got 7 of Cups. So this is, girl or boy, whoever's watching this is a very emotional time for you. Overall energy is 2 of Cups. So again, this is like very heavily relationship based reading. Whoever you're dealing with, whatever you're dealing with right now is a soulmate situation. So the person that you're dealing with could be your soulmate. Say it again. I've said it in several videos, but I'll say it again here. Soulmate doesn't mean love of your life, the one and only truly. Soulmate means someone that you connect with on an emotional level, on a soul level, that is of a profound and God, now I can't even think of the word. Just basically someone that you connect with so strongly that kind of is inexplicable in some ways. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be a total stranger or someone who is just an acquaintance of yours. I'm going to assume most people are not dealing this heavily with an acquaintance, but the idea that an acquaintance could be a soulmate in your life is a possibility. So when you see the soulmate card, or when you hear people talk about soulmates, if they only talk about love and partners for life and all that stuff, that's very hierarchy to me. And I'm like, no, that's not right. Because probability, it's just not possible that if you do have a soulmate, they're your one and only. Like, improbable. But anyway, so this whole situation is dealing with this very important relationship in your life. Pivotal. It's a pivotal relationship in your life. It's shaped you. It's influenced you. It's really, it came to you, or has come to you, or will come to you, however this falls out in your life, at such an important part in your, an important time in your life. I don't know why, but there's this feeling of timing. It's this feeling of the time that you met this person was the right time. The time that you will meet this person is the right time. For some of you, the time that you will re-meet, reintroduce yourself to this person is the right time. But it's all muddied. It's all cloudy. You know, it's all sort of askew. And there might be a lesson in that. You know, as much as this is, I feel, heavily your energy, Gemini, it can go the other way. So it can be your partner who's having like this compartmentalized thing going on, or this intention but like poor execution thing going on. You both could share that energy, and that could be a soulmate to you. A lot of times soulmates sort of reflect parts of ourselves that reveal our deepest truths, right? If you're an ornery person, but you don't know it, you might come across a soulmate who's ornery, and when they deal with you, you recognize that they're ornery. And then you go and you say, wait a minute, I'm like that sometimes too. Am I ornery? It could be like that. So I've been talking extensively about how this is like a sort of disconnect in the department of emotions. Facing emotions that you've never faced before, admitting to them, or submitting to them, recognizing them, acting from a place of emotions, from a place of deep feelings. Maybe you've never done that before. Maybe your soulmate also never did that before, and that's how you guys connect. That's why you're profoundly attracted to them. That, and again, not necessarily sexually or romantically attracted, as far as you share a bond. Attract, like as in magnetics. You can't keep away from each other. You always share something with them, or you always recognize something in them that reflects a facet of your own personality. Okay? All right, Gemini, that's going to do it for your May 2018 rating. I thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you liked what you saw here, please comment below. I would love to hear from you guys. Feel free to like the video, share it with friends, share it on social media platforms. I don't care, whatever you want to do. Just don't steal the content. Please don't do that. Also, be sure to check again in the description box if you're interested in a personal reading with me. I would love to work with anyone who is in need, who just wants to have a little bit of guidance in their life, or just has a burning question that they think I could answer. Let's set something up. And if you don't find that information in the description box, you can always check the About page and you can find it there. I want to, again, thank you for watching up until this point, and I will see you guys when I do your June general reading in about 4 weeks. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. Bye.